14. Supply and demand as market forces. This unit is primarily a recapitulation of Unit 4 and 6. Unit 4 we studied demand, and Unit 6 we studied the details of supply. However, we quickly recapture. Now, the concept of demand we studied earlier. Why is a particular item demanded? And what is demand? It is not only desire, it has to be backed by the value or the purchasing power. And thirdly, we should be willing to part with that money to get that good. That turns it into a demand. Then we saw the types of demand. And the types of demand included consumer goods and producer goods. Consumer goods per se are purchased for consumption by the households, and producer goods are the goods which are purchased by the producers, which form the intermediate output, ultimately to produce a new product. Those are producer goods. Then the other distinction is perishable and durable goods, and we saw the characteristics of perishable goods. They cannot last very long. Durable goods can be stored, hence therefore the buyer and the sellers are not in a hurry to settle the price and carry out the transaction immediately. The autonomous and derived demand. Autonomous demand, as we studied earlier, is the goods whose demand is not tied with the demand of some other good. That's autonomous. And when it is tied to it is derived from the demand of another product. We need petrol because we have a car. So this is a derived demand. More number of cars will mean more demand for petrol prices. Then we saw the types of demand, and that is what we're seeing right now. And this we can divide a market into segments, say rural demand, urban demand. And when we're talking about the demand function, it's said it's a tabulation of, now we said demand function is specify the factors that influence the demand of the product. And these are, we said demand for a price, commodity X is a function of price of commodity X, price of commodity Y, price of commodity Z, then income of the consumers, price expectation of the consumer, taste and preference of the user, and all other factors. Please refer to all the slides that been made with the unit 4 for the demand and unit 6 for the supply. Then we saw the concept of movement along a demand curve. Movement is caused by changes in price, and we assume the other determinants of demand, which is price of its substitute and complements, income of the consumers, price expectations, tastes and preferences do not change. Only we study the effect of price, and we realize that for a normal good, higher the price, lesser the quantity demanded under normal circumstances, and vice versa. That function, as we depict on the demand curve, is movement along the demand curve. And when, because of factors other than the price, that is, when the price remains constant and the demand is actuated by change in incomes, change in expectations, then the whole demand curve shifts rightwards. In depression period, it shifts leftwards. That is called a shift in demand curve. Now, why are we recalling all this? Because a market has two aspects, and an economist of repute called these demand and supply forces as pair of scissors, because the price will result from the interaction of demand and supply of the product. Further, we studied in Unit 6 these aspects of supply and in Unit 11, and we recall the meaning and determinants of supply. Supply was a quantity which suppliers are willing to supply at a given time at a given price. Supply schedule was a tabulation of various prices and the quantity that suppliers are willing to supply. Movement along the supply curve refers to the changes in the supply that take place due to changes in the price of the product. And shift of supply curve will be for reasons other than price, where price is not changing, technology has improved, new inputs have been found out, or input prices has changed. There will be a shift in supply curve, increasing rightwards, and if it's a decrease, it's going leftwards. All these concepts are very essential. That's why this unit has been used as recalling the concept before we come to the market mechanism, and we study how the prices are determined in various kinds of market. How does the demand behave in different kinds of markets? And how does supply behave in different conditions? If it's a monopoly, he can control the supply. If it is perfect competition, no individual supplier is in a position to influence the supply. No individual buyer is in a position to influence the price at all. So those conditions, before we study all that, this unit has been devoted to recall all the concepts that you have learned in Unit 4, Unit 6 regarding demand, and Unit 11 as concerning the supply of the product. Any question that you have, this must be clarified before we come to the market analysis.